Hi everybody, it's Corey, the Reset Girl. I am here today to share with you one of the awesome recommendations that I have for Christmas gifts this season. And this book is so fun. I actually got it last year from my mom for Christmas, and I have another one to share with you because I am putting this one together for my daughter, but shh, don't tell her. But I really, really love this book, and I really wanted to share it with the planner community because it embraces so much of what we appreciate and love about planners. You know, the experience of writing things down on paper and flipping through the books. It's kind of part memory keeping, part functional. And that's kind of what some of us do with our planners. So this is called the Keepsake Kitchen Diary, and it's brought to you by Lily and Val. Valerie McKeenan, who is completely adorable. She has the most beautiful Instagram account if you follow her. She's actually a chalk lettering artist. And I had the privilege to meet her at the Inspired Retreat that Amber Housley hosts. And she came out with this book last season. And it is so fun. And I am really excited about putting this together as a gift for my daughter. And I wanted to share it with you because I figured a lot of you were like me, where you want to create something that's special and kind of it's unique. It's a unique gift from your heart, and it could be something that you use now in this season of your life, and one day you gift it to your daughter or your son or your new daughter-in-law. And you can purchase this obviously for your family members as well. That maybe for your college daughter who's our new bride that's going off for the first time with her own household and can create this for her own kids. So I'm going to just show you, run through the whole book and show you what it looks like, the format of it. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and decorate one of the pages and use one of the recipes that I use from my janky recipe book, if you want to call it that. So let me show you how gorgeous this is, and you can see for yourself why it would make such a fantabulous gift, especially for someone from a memory keeping perspective. So this little guy has a beautiful little intro from Miss Valerie herself, and she explains this is really a passion project for her, putting this together because she herself and her own family there's a lot of family memories attached to certain dishes and recipes, and I'm sure you can think of some of your own as well, like I can. So she tells that story and the care instructions for the book as well as how to use it. And then there's a dedication page here, and this is what I mean. Hello. She is amazing. She is so talented. And one of the things I love about her Instagram channel, which if you, she has Lily and Val as one account and then Valerie McKeenan as the other. And I will put links down below so that you can find her amazing account. But she does these like really super sped up videos where she shows how she does these chalk lettering creations on the wall of her new shop. And so she has a physical store, and I've seen a few of them where she shows how she kind of like uh, plans it out on the wall and then fills it in, and it's all sped up, so it's like really fun to watch. But chalk is such a mystery to me, but she makes it look so easy. But the book is filled with beautiful artwork like this. If you go on her store site, she has gift cards, she has prints. I have several of her prints in my home. She has a variety of different products with her beautiful artwork on them. So inside, there's a favorite recipe index here, and this is for the starter section. So you can see here we've got tabs going down the side for each section. So each divider has one of her beautiful artwork, one of her prints on the divider itself, which is thicker, more like cardstock than the actual paper. And so on the back side of them, they also have really great little guides as well. So this is in a pinch ingredient substitutions. So this will tell you what some of the most common ingredients, what a teaspoon, what that would equivalent to if, like, for instance, a cream of tartar, which if you've ever tried to make snickerdoodles, which I make every year, cream of tartar is a key ingredient. And if you do not have it in the cupboard and it's not a super common ingredient, it's telling you what you could use instead, what would be a substitution. I find this to be one of the most helpful guides in the whole book because it's very easy to not have things on hand when you're looking through new recipes that you want to try. So some of these are common ingredients and what you can do to substitute. So in this section, you have a table of contents, which you would fill out with the recipe name and page number. And this is for your starter section. And then this is what the layout looks like for pretty much the entire book, each section. So over here on this side, you're going to fill in the recipe. So there's the name of the recipe and from the kitchen of. So some recipes come from our grandmas, our aunts, a neighbor, someone from church, a friend. So that's where you give credit to who gave it to you, because that's part of the memory, part of the thing that's like special about it. Your ingredients and measurements you would write out here on this side. Prep time, serves, and tools. So those are things that you would you'd fill in. You can also indicate whether it's an easy, medium, or hard recipe. There's a little section for notes and then the directions. So that is on this side of the page. And on this side, this is the memory keeping side. So the date you first tried the recipe and the date you first made it. So sometimes you'll have something at somebody's house and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Can I have the recipe? I find that happens a lot at potlucks. People bring things to a potluck and then you're getting to try it for the first time and then you are dying for the recipe. I have brought things to potlucks before where everyone wants the recipe because it's so flippin' good. So that's where you would record this date first made, and then this is so-and-so's favorite. So sometimes like one family member or your significant other would say like, this is my favorite. I would have this on my birthday. So that kind of gives you the opportunity to kind of whose favorite dish is this? And then you can keep track of how many times you've made on what date, and what was the occasion. I can think of so many different special dishes that I wish I had had this back then, because there's things I've made for very special reasons and they're special to me. And now I'm sitting here going, I wonder if I can remember what some of those awesome recipes were that I made. And now I will be able to record them because they are so significant, so amazing, so something I want to repeat over and over, that they are worth putting in here. This is not for just jotting casual recipes in. These are the recipes you want to hand down. You want someone to continue making, especially if it was a recipe that you got from like your own grandmother, your own grandfather, like something that's been passed down. That's what this book is for. This is becoming like a really important keepsake. Food is one of those things that's very much it's kind of like it weaves the fabric of our families together. So many people consider like our holidays. Think about holidays and how we all gather around the table, and there are some things you just can count on being on that table because it's a recipe that's been repeated over and over again. That's what you want to put in something like this. And I think a lot of people who cook take it for granted that they're the ones that make the dish, and they'll always make the dish, but one day you will not be here to make that dish. And wouldn't it be wonderful if you could record some of those things that were really important to your family and be able to hand them down to the next generation? So that's why I say like this is a great daughter-in-law gift. There's things my husband loves, but I have no idea how to make because I don't have any of the recipes. But this would be a fantastic gift to give to someone when they get married that you have filled out with your son's favorite recipes. When your kids are going off to college, this is a great thing to start filling out for them. You don't have to give it to them right away. You can just start working with it. You could buy one of these for each of your kids and then just duplicate the recipes, sitting down and just recording them in here so that one day it can be this thing that you give them that you've been working on, taking your time with. And obviously in our community, we're very creative. So you can certainly embellish the pages, watercolor, washi, stickers, because that's part of who you are. And that makes the pages even more special, which is what I love and what I'm hoping to do after I've walked you through all of it, that you'll be able to see. So you get a pretty significant amount, I think, pages for your starters. And so all the pages are exactly the same. And then you come here to the soups and salads section. So when you get to this divider, which isn't that super cute, she has this as a print as well. I know I've seen it in her shop. So on the back of the last section we just looked at, you have other musings. So any kind of little notes or details you want to add about the starter section, you could add here. So here is the soups and salads. So on this one, you have a guide to seasoning with fresh herbs. This would be, again, helpful to me because I'm not an herby girl. I rarely go purchase things like that. And so I really wouldn't have any idea what they do or how they benefit you. If the recipe calls for it, I either choose to include it or don't. But it's nice to have this. I know a lot of people love growing little herb gardens on their windowsill. So this is really nice to consider, like having your own little fresh herbs. But what they actually do, what you can combine them with, like what produce do chives go well with? What proteins do they go well with? And what can you use it in? So if I were to look at this and say, wow, I didn't realize you could use parsley in all of this, or dill, like what makes dill special? It's not one of my favorite herbs, I know that. But I wouldn't have considered all the ways that you could use it. So I love the fact that there are such useful little tools in this book. Here is your table of contents for soups and salads. And then again, you have the same section where you have your recipe and your memories. And again, you have a pretty significant amount of pages here to work with for soups and salads. And I have a very special soup that my daughter and I used to make together when she was a little kid. And we called it mother-daughter soup. So I'm definitely recording that as the first recipe going into this book is going to be that one. So that was this section. And then you have the main courses. And isn't that lovely? It's like a little, like little china plates on a wall. And then it has a beautiful little, bless the food before us, the family beside us, and the love between us. Amen. She has so many things like this in her store, you guys. It is really lovely, and she's just, her lettering is just beautiful. She is so talented. So we have on the back side of this one a meat roasting guide. So it tells you like the cooking time for beef, for pork, whole turkey, lamb, and whole chicken. Again, awesome, because I wouldn't know. I've cooked whole chicken in the past, but I wouldn't know. I would probably have to go look up some random recipe on Pinterest or All Recipes in order to figure that out, or Google it. But again, having a handy guide all together, I love that. Plus, isn't that cute, the little stove? So here's a table of contents for your main courses, and then you have the whole section for that. And then you have your side dishes. Look how beautiful this is. Now, I love this one because it's actually practical. This is showing you how a proper dinner place setting is created. So you have your dessert spoons and forks and your water glass and your wine glass, your coffee, your spoon, all of it, the whole 9 yards. A perfect setting. Isn't that lovely? On the back side of this one, you have your vegetable cooking times and your guide to cooking grains, which is, again, wonderful if you are just doing your own thing. You know, you just buy bulk grains from a store and you're just kind of whipping it together on your own, not out of a box or anything. How would you know how long to cook it? So this little guide to cooking grains, I love that. Vegetable cooking times. Here is your table of contents for your side dishes and then the whole section. And let me see something here. Aha, there is a little bit of a difference. So I just noticed that in this section, you have a fork and a spoon and you have a little colander. So maybe it does change ever so slightly, but it just changed here. So now you have these two new little things. So here is your whole section for that. And then dessert, which is all in full color. Save room for dessert. And on the back of this one is baking pan substitution. So sometimes you don't have the right baking pan size, which means then you have to adjust the temperature and the length of time that you bake. And then your measuring equivalents, which is awesome because sometimes you don't have the right little measuring tool. Gallons, quarts, pints, all wonderful. 16 ounces to a pound. So you have like this whole little key here that tells you how to do your equivalencies, which is lovely. Table of contents for your desserts, and then you flip it over, and then this time you have a spatula and a little hot pad. which I love the little print. That's like my little plus signs. That's actually what caught my attention when she first posted this last year, was the little plus sign pattern. I was like, oh, I love it. I have to have it. I don't care what it is. So here's the whole section for your dessert. So you can see, like, that is a lot of room to write recipes, which I love. It's giving you lots of space. This is miscellaneous. So cook, stir, slice, whisk, mix, pour, season, chop, bake, garnish, saute, enjoy. So cute. I love her stuff. She's just so whimsical, and how her lettering is just really beautiful. So here's your miscellaneous section. Here's a quick calorie guide for dairy, eggs, and meat, vegetables, and fruit. So mason jar, little plate. Okay, so here's something that I thought about for miscellaneous. I realize that a lot of these recipes are probably meant to be like edible, obviously, recipes. But think about how many people love making like DIY beauty treatments, like a banana face mask or an oatmeal face mask, or like a salt sugar scrub. I saw this and I was like, oh, I would totally put in those DIY beauty treatments in this section. If I'm giving this to my daughter, I know she would actually appreciate it and use it, but it kind of makes it different and special. So if the person who's going to get that, if like you could imagine them, if they're into that kind of thing and I would appreciate, using something like that. A lot of the food products that we have on our shelves, like sugar and salt, for instance, they're a base for a lot of those type of DIY products. Same thing with coconut oil, olive oil. So I would just like to throw that out there, that is an option for a miscellaneous section. Because look at all the real estate you have. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I plan to do. So at the very back part of it, you have it's like cardstock, and it's like a recipe card that you could actually give to somebody who's like, I must have that recipe. So you could fill in the directions and the ingredients measurements on this side. So it's perforated right here along this line, so you could just cut it, you rip it out, and it's kind of postcard sized. So let's see, you actually get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you see, you get 2 cards per section. Obviously, you can just use them for whatever section you want, but they were designed for 2 cards per main section in here. So, and then you have a pocket here on the back for those, like, sometimes people hand you recipes on little scraps of paper, which I know I've gotten over the years. And then you have the pocket in the front here. So that is the kitchen, the Keepsake Kitchen Diary. Is that not adorable? So I am going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to fill out one of the spreads, and hopefully I'm going to decorate it in a way that is awesome, and just to see what I like. If I hate it, I'm just ripping it out. But I think that it will be fine. I'm just going to do my normal thing with my washi and my stickers. On the back of it here, it has a little features guide too, and it's lovely. She's kind of tells a little story here on the back. So she has had these out for a year now, and it's been one of her best-selling products in her store. So I can think of so many people who would just really appreciate being able to gift this to somebody, just for them to, for the recipient to fill out, but also to create it as a gift for someone else. I know my daughter is really going to treasure this, especially if I take the time to like fill it all out for her. She calls me all the time or texts me, Mom, can you give me the recipe for your chili? Mom, can you give me the recipe for your, this casserole that we both really love? So I know this is something that she's going to really love. And the fact that I took the time to fill it out, to decorate it, like she knows that's so my mom, right? And so when you think about it and how your kids see you, if you're being a crafter and a creator, think about how you can put your own little like distinct mark on this, especially for each kid. So this is going to be definitely one of my top recommendations as a Christmas present this season. And I'm going to put that little kind of spotlight on my blog, theresetgirl.com, and post it on Instagram as well, because I think this makes a fantastic gift. And it's pretty much my top pick of all the different things that I considered this season, and that would recommend. The product is just, it's really well made. It's nice and hefty. It feels like a coil-bound planner, and it just makes a wonderful sentimental gift that will be treasured. So let's do the fun part and get decorating. Table now, and I've gathered some things. So I have my bin o punches that I thought might be helpful because I love punching paper and kind of adding that into my pages. I happen to have this 6x6 paper pad from Basic Gray. It's the Herbs and Honey collection. So I figured it's very farmer's market-y is what I would describe it. So I just picked out some of the paper that's inside of this. See, you can see it's got this very obvious kind of vegetable kitchen theme. This looks like one of those astronomical calculations. What do they used to call those? The farmer's, I can't think of that. The Farmer's Almanac. That's probably something that would have come from. One of my favorite patterns is this one. I absolutely love that. It's super vintagey. So here's some of the papers from this little collection, which I felt completely fit this kitchen diary theme. But I am sure you will find many options in your own paper stash. Like this was in my paper stash, and I don't even remember buying it, but I told myself, you know, you might want to hold on to that one because it could come in handy. One other fun little stamp I found in my collection, because when on Citrus Twist kits, you can go into the stamping section on the store, and there is just a cajillion of these little 2x3 stamp sets, and I love them. I think that size is about $5. And I just bought a whole bunch of them. And this one was all about cooking. So it says things like heart of the home, a sprinkle of this, a dash of that, sweet tooth, little bites, good. So that kind of fun thing. What a great theme, right? It totally, like, they were meant to be. So again, just giving you ideas. If you were to purchase this, this would be a fantabulous little stamp to grab too, especially for someone that has any kind of like creative, kind of scrapbooky inclination. This would be a fun little thing to pair it with. Kind of like if you wrapped it all up, you could add this as a tag, like the to and from tag as a little gift. What else do I got? So I also have one of my paper punch buffets here that I had worked on the other day, which I have filmed, but I still don't believe that video is live yet. So this is one of the papers too from this collection, is this one right here, which I love. So I was thinking I would just add tabs to the top of the pages that are just super random. There's flowers in here from the Maggie Holmes collection. Lots of vintagey stuff like County Superior strawberries. A mom giving a kid a flower. Well, you never know. So I'm just kind of looking through my little collection of stuff and seeing the possibilities of things I could use in this book. And as an example, I think there is another collection I can think of that has a lot of these little vintage pieces. Is from Jilly Bean Soup. I think I've gotten some die cut packs from her that were very, very vintagey. Because you guys know how I roll. I love the vintage. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I was born in the wrong era. I have a bunch of these too in my collection. These little milk bottle caps. Back in the day, they used to have these little paper advertisements on the top of the milk bottles. So this is what I would recommend you do, is you kind of just go through everything that you have in your collection and see if, like, what sings to you, what just feels like it wants to be part of it. You are my sunshine. I used to say that to my daughter all the time when she was a little girl. So that definitely should be in there. So, and that's the fun thing, you know, some of this is kind of like scrapbooking. I didn't scrapbook anything when she was little. I didn't really have extra money for stuff like that. So here's my opportunity. Isn't that cute? Family time. Right there. That's what I was looking for. This is what I want to put on my mother-daughter soup page is Mom and Me, because this was something, I think she was like in first grade, second grade, where I really tried to, I was making an effort. I was a full-time college student, and I was making an effort to cook like full meals with like a dessert and everything. So I started making my mom's clam chowder recipe is actually what it is. And we used to make homemade rolls together for it. And so those are things I know that she remembers. So that would be a fantastic thing to record. And also, you know, you don't feel like you have to fill all the pages up either. That's another thing, is you want to leave room for them to record things too. So I'm just going to put things I know she asks for. Some of my mom's recipes I'll probably add in here too. But she'll appreciate, you know, your kids will appreciate that effort. They may not appreciate it when they're a teenager, but they'll appreciate it one day. I don't know that if I'd given it that to her when she was a teen, she would have been like, yeah, thanks. Okay, so I'm just grabbing some random stuff. The one set that I just grabbed all that fun stuff from that I was just showing you largely came from the Close Knit collection from Crate Paper. I probably bought like 5 packages of Close Knit that's no longer available. So I found it by Googling the words Close Knit Crate Paper, which is usually how I find all the old outdated collections, and I will just buy it from whoever is selling it. If there is some little online scrapbook store who is selling that because they're like, please somebody buy this stuff, I will be there. I will be there to purchase it. Trust me on that. I've bought many outdated things, collections and sets, because for projects just like this. Close Knit is really cool if you've never seen it before. It is full of like, it's very family oriented, and it has obviously a knitting, sewing kind of theme to it, but it has a lot of these pieces that talk about family, which is fun. That's a piece from it. It's like a little silhouette. So I'm just sort of grabbing some of the, sorting through it, Mom and Dad. Let me see. There's another piece from it, is this little button. Definitely that one. Love that. Aw, see, how cute is that? Totally together. Okay, so here's the little key from that collection. This is what all the pieces look like. It's pretty bomb, I have to tell you. I'm sure if you were dying for this set, if you were to Google it, you will find it. Little online stores, you know, I'm one of them. Sometimes like people just don't see things in your store. And so you end up with lots of little stuff on your shelf, and you hope that somebody will come along someday and buy it from you. So I also have some of the little punched pieces here, like the little clouds that I had punched previously. I have some washi here. I'm going to bust out more of my washi. So that's one of my favorite washi rings that I have, which if you love the washi ring, which I certainly do, that is available on the resetgirlshop.com. And I'm just kind of looking through my little, I also have these kind of stickers too, which I got from my Italy trip. I bought these in Germany. They are really nice. So add a little extra color. And then, ooh, almost had a spill. Okay. Going into my own little sticker collection and seeing if I have, there we go. I'm going for some honeys because, of course, I would be expected to add the honeys, right? I'm going to add some Free Spirit stickers in here. Free Spirit is one of my favorite collections. It's just like, it's so funny. There's something, it's very modern, but yet it blends so well with my vintage stuff. I really like it. You know, I have a feeling that I could use these pencils, like taking notes. I'm just going to throw those out there. Sometimes it's in the gathering of your supplies. So these are die cuts from the Crafted collection. Okay, I think that's it. And then the other thing I have sitting here on my desktop are some of my Tombow markers, the dual brush tip ones, the colors that I call these my delicious colors. I just love them. So I have those too. So here's my suggestion, because I can see where this would be intimidating, because you know you're going to try and give it as a gift. If you are kind of experimenting with your decorating part of this, I would say that you could scan a couple of the pages just to kind of test out how you would decorate. I guess, you know, like use your product on here. Either that or pick one of the ones in the back to practice on, like in the miscellaneous section, just to see what you think. If you don't like what you do, you at least can rip it away, you know, rip it out, and it wouldn't be as tragic if you were picking a different part of the planner. I feel like I'm brave enough that I'm just going to jump in and do it, but I can see where you'd want to like test it out. As far as stamps go, I tend to always go with chalk ink pads. Prima is one of them. There's also Versa, and actually those are probably the only two I would recommend. I don't think Cat's Eye, I don't remember who makes the Cat's Eye product, but I have had not good results with those. So I have the entire Prima collection, so I just stick with this. But these are great little chalk edgers if you're concerned about bleed through. Another fun thing to grab would be a date stamp, because you can stamp it with a date, the day that you actually included it in the book. That's what I would do, is what date did you add it to the book. So with that being said, another thing, and if you guys are kind of eyeballing the real estate on the page and you're thinking, am I going to be able to fit all my writing in there? I just want to throw this out there. Another thing that you can use to extend your real estate for writing is a journal card. So you could create a tip-in, if you will, which is basically taking a little piece of washi and creating what's kind of like, I call a hinge. So I'm adding it here. Wait, doing it the other way. So, that's perfect, isn't it? I just happened to randomly grab it and it has a spoon on the back. It's like I planned it, but I swear I didn't. Okay, so I have the little spoon here, but look at all this increased real estate. If your directions over here were going kind of long and you're like, I'm not sure if I could fit that in, consider using a journal card for that. And this particular book, I love, like, to me, one of the best collections that would blend beautifully is anything that Maggie Holmes does, which is from the Crate Paper line. So any of the Maggie Holmes collections, like, hello, does that look like it belongs in here or not? It's ridiculous, right? Like, it looks like Valerie did these too. So I love stuff like this. And if you want to hinge like an extra little bit of writing in here that you just couldn't fit, no one's going to fault you for that. And that's just fun. That's kind of like a little pop-up book. That's how I look at it. But for sure, what was this collection called? I think this was called Open Book. The Open Book Project Life. You guys, Get out of here, right? Isn't that awesome? It just looks like it was meant to be. So this is probably what I'm going to use. I don't know. My daughter's not really a vintage girl, although she's kind of been forced to live with it because of me. But I know that she'll appreciate that I made this for her, and that's where all this came from, was my love of vintage and how I looked at things. So although it's not her preference necessarily, I know that she'll treasure the fact that I put my heart into this. So just consider like using little other elements to extend your writing space if you need to. I mean, you can use an even larger card if you have to, because I can totally see where some directions, there's just a little bit more directions. So, but I think this is a completely valid way of just adding some extra real estate and just like adding that little hinge of washi, and then you could write it on the inside. So I've written in my first recipe that I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put in the snickerdoodles, and then I'm going to do my mother-daughter soup. I added a little tab to the top of the page, and I'm using just a simple black pen. If you're going to use watercolors or markers in with your decorating, you want to make sure you pick the right pen. You want to pick something that will not bleed or smear, which I have learned the hard way with some of my pens. Although I love writing with my Crown pen, it is not a good pen for doing anything archival, which is like this pen. Boo. I love writing with it, but I always forget that you add anything to it and it instantly smears. So the pen that I like to use a lot is my Illustrated Faith pen. Those don't bleed or smear. And then this one, which all the writing rubbed off of it. Now I don't remember what it is. It's called a Uni pen. UNI pen. I even forget who makes it. I bought them on eBay, I'm sure, but I think all the writing rubbed off, so I can't even tell you. Just all I can say is just make sure you use an archival friendly pen for this project, because you will be sad. Okay, so I'm picking this snickerdoodle recipe. My daughter makes these every year for Christmas because that's how much we love them. We've been making them since May of 2001. So we first tried them in May 2001, and we tried them because we had made them. This is and I'll let Kai continue filling this in, but action birds. And then I'm gonna test this idea out. So I was thinking, would it be helpful? Sometimes when I'm reading recipes, I feel like this is where I mess up, is the part where the directions are telling you what to combine and mix. And I feel like that's the part that I mess up. And so I'm thinking, what if I highlighted in color the ingredients that you're actually putting together? So then you're doing the flour, cream of tartar, soda, and salt. So flour, cream of tartar, baking soda, salt. And then down here is the sugar, cinnamon, sugar, and cinnamon. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't that seem like it would just be a little more helpful? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I won't do it with all of them. I'll just do it with a couple and see if she likes that. Because if so, then that's a really easy thing to just to fix or add to, you know, to make the recipe more readable. I know my daughter has ADHD, so that might be something that she appreciates, making it a little easier to read the actual recipe. Okay. So I added a little bit of blue here because I had this blue here going on. So I thought I'll just play upon that. And I have this kind of white space here. So is this an opportune time for a piece like that? What other little pieces do I have going on in here that I could add? I think I had a few of these pop up, these little milk things. Okay, let me move this out of my way so I can see it all. Oops. Here to make my own little tabs. Aha, here we go. I think that color works better anyway. So let's add this one. And I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit of there. I love underlining things like that. I think I'm gonna add some little I think I'm going to do this instead. And I need my date stamp. Date stamp. Date stamp. Today is November, it's the 21st. I think this is the kind of thing I want to use my darker ink for. Okay, so when I look at the whole page, I want to kind of continue this side into this side so it's kind of like evenly decorated. So now that I got that set up, I want to take some of this over here. And I had a little sheet of honeys. So this like little bingo sticker, it has a natural line in it. So I'm just going to cut up the line so it naturally kind of ends at that right there. And then word strip it. Put a word strip there. She is loved. And kind of playing around here. I like this one. She's kind of like looking down at something she has. Wow, I could just cover that whole piece like that with a flower. Just like that. Which, there's nothing wrong with doing stuff like that. That certainly is one way to, you know, make this special and customize it to what, you know, you like and your style. So don't feel like you can't kind of embellish and cover over things. We do stuff like that all the time when we are working in our planners. So trying to decide if I'm done here. I think I'm going to take this one off after all. Meow. I don't know why that just tickled me there for a second. I was like, maybe I'll leave that there. I think what I want to do is see if there's any more. Let me see here. I'm going to add a little coffee cup from the TRG collection. The word yes, because that's how I feel after having one of these cookies. It's amazing. Okay, make sure I add this to the very edge of the paper. I will rock this. Ooh, here's a good one. This is the good stuff. Let me see. I'm trying to find like a good place to put this one. How about on part of her skirt? And let's see here. I really like this stamp. Okay, this one says Sweet Tooth. And this, like, the skinny washies probably are really good for this part, I think. Because you have a smaller bit of real estate. So that's how I would probably end up doing my pages, is something like this, where they're slightly embellished and like not overly so. I mean, I still want her to be able to write the important things, but she can see like the amount of time and, you know, effort I put into making her pages cute. So this is the snickerdoodle recipe, and this is how I would continue doing this. I'd probably, you know, go through and main courses, do a soup and salad. So oops, it's 72. So I'm putting this family time piece down here because this is something my daughter and I made together when she was little. It's something we called mother-daughter soup. And I want to make sure that I'm putting all those special little pieces down. So I'm going to put this washi, this piece right here, but she will still be able to write under it because you can flip it and still write there. So I'm just putting that piece. So I know my daughter she will love this. And that's something that you might, consider when you're doing this is like, do you guys have a special recipe in your family that's something your kids would appreciate and want to share in the fun with the memories of making that, and then they can make it for their kids, that kind of fun thing. So on this, probably going to put that there, or the other thing I want to do is keep checking to make sure like what color palette did I have going on over here before I add stuff over here. I don't want it to like be crazy. And I feel like it works. So okay, so I'm going to use some more of this, my favorite washi, to kind of echo the washi I got going on over here. And I always like to trim the edges so it's nice and neat. And then so does that look weird? I feel like that looks weird. Okay, so maybe I could put that here because the tools, I actually have to write this recipe out myself, so it's very contingent upon what I decide is necessary information. So I guess that's not really necessary. Okay, so I changed the stamp on here and now it says, what's cooking? What is cooking indeed? So I guess I just would not be happy unless I was like crowding my workspace as much as possible so that I could barely navigate my area here. I feel like I do this all the time. And what am I looking for? The stamp pad that's actually in my hand. That's actually what I was looking for. Full disclosure. Okay. But I know that we all do that. Okay. It's like when we run around looking for our glasses and they're on top of our head. What's cooking? My mom has made this clam chowder recipe my whole life. It is the only clam chowder that I don't even order it in restaurants because I don't even think it's one of those things where I just know that this is what I like, and it's kind of an unusual, I guess, way of method of it, or it's a very thin broth versus that kind of thick chowder. So that's usually when you go in the restaurants, that's usually what it's like. It's a thick chowder, and I don't care for that just because my mother has made this style for so long. So we end up developing preferences based on stuff that, that we get used to. Just trying to decide if I feel like there's just room for more washi over here. I apologize if I keep moving off the camera. Sometimes I forget where the camera is actually watching me or not watching me. So trimming that off. Ooh, and I just saw this, which I love. This little cloud. It's like typewriter paper. It was punched with my little cloud punch. This is the kind of stuff I love. Is just weird. Like who would, obviously clouds are billowy and soft and white, but I like the fact that you can make that shape and use ledger paper, or something like graph paper, something really odd or weird. Ooh, I don't think I want to encroach on my directions area. Or do I? Do I just want to play it fast and loose? I don't know. I like this green over here because it complements this green over here. And so I feel like this wants to be here. I'll probably pay for it. But that's okay, because if that's the case, then I can always just add, I can move this over here and write on the back of it if my directions go too far. I think that's kind of just the unknown at this point, is I haven't tested out my whole writing out a recipe from scratch, so I don't know how much space and room I need yet. It's a surprise. Okay, so that's where I'm adding it. Okay. What's cooking? Did I put it over here? I did. Got a lot of what's cooking. Okay. I'm just procrastinating. Okay. No, I keep moving this little guy around. I think I want to keep him there. I like this, but no, I do want to take this off. Okay, so this is like, I think the second time this poor little guy has been uprooted, but that's okay. If you're not feeling it, then don't do it. But what I want to do to him first before I put him down is I want to, I'm just going to use the back side of this. I want to stamp him first. I want to stamp him. So I'm going to create a little pattern, a repeated pattern of one of these stamps. So let's do in the kitchen. And I love using the darker brown stamps sometimes versus black. Just, I don't know, it feels more vintagey. So one of them I definitely want to be nice and clear, and then the rest are kind of going to be like all over the place. Cut off. There. All funkified. I like whimsy. I like when things are imperfect and odd. Okay, so let's add that, and I like that so much better. So much better. Okay. Um, Okay, so I'm going to stop here. Since this is a recipe that I make from memory, I want to make sure I'm remembering it correctly. And I actually have all the ingredients in my pantry to make this. So what I'm going to do is stop right here. I've prepped my page, decorated it. And then when I go to make the recipe, I'm just going to write down my steps as I do it. And I would recommend this if you're used to making certain dishes. Um, just, you never know. My memory is not the best. I don't even trust myself anymore. So if you kind of like not quite sure on your measurements and that kind of thing, it's a great opportunity for you to actually prepare the dish and record as you're going. And that way, like you can record it on a separate piece of paper, just scratch it out. And that way you can just make sure you've given it a test run before you commit it to the page. I felt pretty confident about this, but any further, I really want to like create the recipe first. So, and that's going to be common with probably, I would say, half of the recipes I can think of that I want to add to her book is I'm actually going to have to make them, just because you just get used to making stuff by heart, right? But that's the whole point of this. When I leave this earth, my daughter won't know how to make any of those dishes because I've just made them and not shared. So this is your way of sharing those memories, and sharing those recipes uh, before it's too late. So I am very happy with this. This is super fun. I was not sure how it was going to work with like the decorating. I wasn't sure what I was going to use, but finding a cute stamp, there's lots of, simple words, memories. Obviously that's a simple word. A lot of us have scrapbooking stamps that have those things. So it doesn't have to be cooking related, but I bet if you were to look, you'd find in your stash, you'd find stuff that you could use. Paper, punching paper. I have collected a bunch of paper here, like these papers, going through that collection. Like this is the kind of stuff I would sit in front of the TV with. Whoops. Sit in front of the TV with and just like punch shapes to do this, like to have these little cloud punches. But wouldn't it be cute to have things that are like, have things like garden, food, canning, preserves, actual food to put in the pages. So look in your stash. You might have something in there you could use. You can also, if you have any old recipe books that you want to sacrifice the pages, or go to the thrift store and find one of those old books, old cookbooks That's a fun thing to punch up, because then all the text that you're putting into your layout has words in it that are cooking related, recipes related. So that's fun. But this is one of my favorite punches, is my tab punch. You know, I have a banner punch. I have circles are always awesome. Circles are great. My little cloud punch from, this is, I think, a Fisker's punch. A hexagon. I have a tag. Go through your punch collection and find some little punches that would be fun. Here is a great little punch. So this is called a notch punch, if you wanted to put a little notch into a card. But this makes a cute little bitty tab. So some of those recipes that are just like, go here, this is an amazing recipe. Like, this would be a recipe I would notch, because I really want her to look at it. It's a special one, because it's something that she and I did together. So to me, this would be something I would create a special little tab for. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Like, I would punch this. I always put a backing on my punches. I never make them be naked. And by that I mean this. I put, whoop. So I glue both sides of the wrong sides together, and then glue them. So it's back to back. It's a little notch punch, see? That, oop, and that's the back side. They're slightly crooked. There we go. Now it's perfect. Okay, so this is something that I would add here to my page, to the top like that. You can staple something like that to the page, which I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to use my tiny attacher, and I'm going to staple that. Actually, I want to be careful I don't get it too high. There. See, so like, that's an example of those little details, and you don't have to spend a lot of money doing this project. I went through my stash, and I had held on to stuff like this because I figured one day I was going to have like some amazing opportunity to use it, and that day has come. So old cookbooks are great for punching pieces out to decorate with. And you can find them at thrift stores for hardly anything. And you can use them, and you can just cut punches, shapes out of them to use for this little project. So this was a very long video. Once again, I don't know how to do short ones, but I cannot recommend this little guy enough. It's actually, I'm really looking forward to giving this to her, and how much I know she'll appreciate and cherish it. And it was made with so much love by Valerie McCann, and I would definitely suggest you check it out. This is one of my recommendations for a great Christmas gift. And beyond Christmas, this makes a great graduation gift, a great bridal gift, a new mom gift. This is definitely something that you would be very much giving your children a really big piece of your heart with something like this. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. It's fun to do something different, and I am going to make sure that my daughter never watches this video, at least before Christmas. So it's going to have to be under wraps. She cannot know that this is what I'm working on. So I hope you guys are having a fantabulous day. And if you've gotten this far in the video, I really appreciate that you have stuck it all out here with me through my meandering decorating. And I will link the book below so you can check out her shop and grab one of these yourself. We have about little over a whole month to get one of these done if you want to give them for Christmas and spend some time decorating, or simply just buy one for Christmas for a friend or family member. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.